The lights that Wuben makes are usually known for being small and easy to carry, kind of like this X4 right here. But what if you need a whole lot more light? Well, that's where this comes in. This absolute unit of a light is the Wuben X1 Pro, and it advertises a massive 12,300 lumens, which is about 8 times the output of this little guy right here. And in this WVGunsNGoats tabletop video, we're gonna unbox it, look at everything in the box, and because this thing is so ridiculously bright, we'll head outside after dark to see how it really performs. And hey, if you're not a herd member yet, how about you headbutt that subscribe button and join the herd here at WV Guns and Goats. Thanks to Wuben for sending this light for this video. So I had to zoom out to fit everything on the table here, but we're gonna go over the specs on the back of the box here. Now we have a turbo mode on this light. We also have high, medium, low, and eco modes on this light as well. Now, depending on if you're in high, medium, or low, you're gonna get a different turbo output. High output is normally 3,000 lumens, 1,000 on medium, 400 on low, and 20 on eco. If you go into the turbo mode and you're on high, you're gonna get 12,300 lumens, 5,000 on medium, 3,000 on low. Those top two lumen outputs are limited to 1 minute of runtime each, because even though this has a fan in it, it'd probably get pretty toasty still, and it would definitely draw a lot of energy and drain those batteries pretty quickly. Now on low, you have 1.7 hours of runtime in the turbo at 3,000 lumens. But on high standard mode, you have 3,000 lumens and it's rated at 1.8 hours. I'm not sure what the difference in runtime is there between those two modes because they output the same amount of lumens. 5.5 hours on medium, 14 hours on low, 220 hours on eco. The beam distance here is listed as 410 meters and 42,025 candela. IP65 rated. Now, as I said, this has a fan on it, so it has vents in the body of the light. I'm not sure if that affects the IP65 rating at all. It is rated for 1 meter of drop distance. So the weight of this light is 8.54 ounces without the batteries in it. It takes two 21700 rechargeable cells. Now the weight of it with those cells is 13.51 ounces. So it is kind of heavy. It's almost a pound, and that's probably why this doesn't have a belt clip on the body of the light. But it says right here that it includes a blet holster. I'm sure they meant belt holster there. So it is dimension-wise 2.35 inches in length, 1.16 inches in width, and 5.43 inches in height. Inside this package is the light, 2 of the 21700 batteries, the blet holster, a Type-C charging lanyard, a spare screw pack for the fan there, and the user manual. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. Get this flipped over here and opened up. The top just slides off of the bottom right there. And the first thing you're going to be presented with is the manual. It's inside here, and it's in pretty much every language known to man. Then your light is going to come in a plastic baggie inside this plastic tray right here. Underneath that tray, you're going to find 2 boxes, one for accessories and one for the blet holster. I like how they typoed it in 2 different places on this packaging. So I've already taken everything out of the plastic baggies that they come in inside here. Let's take a look at the holster first. And it is a nylon construction holster. Got some elasticity to it. On the back though, where it attaches to your belt, is a plastic belt clip. And this belt clip spins 360 degrees right there. And it is a wide belt clip, and it is a tall belt clip, so it should fit pretty much any belt you're going to wear. And it does have a good bit of springiness to it, and then you can hear it click around there when it spins, so it's easy to adjust this light on your belt. Now it does take a little bit of practice to get it into the holster here. First, you're going to have to undo this tension strap, and trying to slide this in from the top can be done like so. Of course, I popped the batteries out of there because I didn't have it latched, but we'll get to that here in a minute. And then we latch that down, and with that latched, it does take a good bit of force to try and pull that out, but you're not gonna really be able to pull it out of that holster as long as this tension strap is latched to the Velcro there. Once it's unlatched, it is pretty easy to pull the light out of the holster there. But I don't think it's going to give you much troubles as long as you keep that tension strap Velcroed down. We'll set that to the side and take a look at the accessories here. Now that is the charging lanyard, and mine really doesn't function as a lanyard anymore because I was messing around with it. So this is the packet of screws right here, and they are for this fan cover right here. They're very, very tiny screws, as you can probably see right there. Now when you get yours, this piece is going to be in there like so, so it acts like an actual lanyard. But I was having some issues with this knot right here on the end. That little knot right there. Let me show you what it was doing for me. Now, this is a metal piece right here with Wuben's logo on it. And you press on the buttons there, and you can take the USB-C charging cable out. USB-C to USB-C right there. Now, the thing is, these are supposed to go back in here and click into place. Well, this little knot right here sits down inside there and was causing me some troubles getting those to click in securely. So I did take it out just to see if that's what was causing the issues for mine, and it was, but now I'm having an issue getting this threaded back through this little tiny hole right here. So just keep that in mind. I'll probably be playing with this some more later on and eventually get this little lanyard loop back through that hole. But this is actually a really interesting way to keep the charging cable on your light. So I definitely want to try and get this back through there so I can use it as a lanyard. Now let's go ahead, clear this desk off, and look at the light itself. X1 and the X4. On the X4 here, I wanted to show you that the battery tail cap is magnetized. A lot of Wuben lights have magnetic tail caps, so you can stick them to something and keep them hands-free. The X1 does not, and it's probably due to the size of the battery compartment cover here. It would probably be a real menace with the amount of magnetic power this thing would have. Trying to stick to stuff always trying to stick to it when it was on your belt. So I can see why they didn't make that magnetic. But it does have the really nice locking battery cap latch that Wuben has on many of their lights. Now we've got the top of the light, bottom of the light. So when this latches towards the top of the light, the battery compartment is locked and cannot open. When it's toward the bottom of the light and you press that, look at how much force that had to pop open with. And we have brass contacts here. We also have a very thick O-ring to protect it from the elements, water, dirt, and dust from getting inside the light there. Now the brass contacts look nice. They got a good bit of spring to them. You saw how this popped open when I opened it up. It's also marked positive and negative. Usually when you have this cone-shaped spring, that's to touch the negative terminal on the battery. And then we have brass contacts down inside the body of the light there. Here are the two 21700 Wuben branded batteries. Now these batteries give this the power to be able to be used as a battery bank or a power bank to charge devices. That's why you had a C-to-C charging lanyard there. So you can plug it into the C port on this and plug the other C end into something to charge it. Now we've looked at the end of the light. Let's look at the body of the light. So it is anodized aluminum. And then we have a little warning here. It says lock when not in use. 4 quick clicks. That will lock the light out and keep it from activating. And right here on the left side of the light, we have the controls. Well, one of them. We have one control here, and we have our button control right here. This is just what turns the light on and off, and also what chooses the different modes for power-wise. So when you turn this on, and I'm pretty sure I have this in very low eco mode right now, when you turn it on, it's going to turn on to whatever mode you had it on last. So I have it on the eco mode, and also when you click this, it's going to give you a battery indicator light for a little bit, and then it's going to go out. So if we click and hold this, and it's going to get very bright here, but it's going to step up through the different modes there. If we were to double click this, we're into the turbo mode. If we were to triple click this, we would be in the strobe mode, like so. If we quadruple click it, well, it's going to lock itself out. But the interesting thing is, when we click this 5 times, there's the fan in there turning on. So that fan turns on when you click it 5 times, and then you have to click it 5 more times to get that fan to turn back off. So you can manually turn the fan on to cool the unit off. And then we see a vent here, and then a vent there and there for that fan. But we will go over all the different brightness modes and how they look outside next. Above the power button, you have that USB-C port. And then right here is our other control on this light. So right now we are all the way over to the right, and we are in flood mode. In the center we have flood and spot. On the left we have spot only. Now on the right side there is nothing, and on the back side, well, we have the fan here, but we also have these 2 threaded holes here. What these holes are actually for is there is a optional bicycle mount for this light. So you can mount it to handlebars on a bike and use this as a headlight if you were cycling, and that's where that mounts. So I'm pretty sure that covers most everything about this light here on the tabletop. Let's go ahead and take it outside and see how it performs. Well, we're out here after dark on the range, and the targets in front of you are at 25 yards. So let's go through the operation of the X1 Pro, see how it performs out here after dark. Now I've got it set to come on to eco mode right now, but this will remember the last brightness you had it on and come right back on to it. So here's low. If I turn it off, turn it back on, it's going to be on low again. It will not turn off and turn back on into the turbo mode. Now if I press and hold here, we're in low, medium, high, eco, low, medium, high, eco, low again. Now the slider button on here is for changing the shape of the beam. We're in flood right now, and this is flood with the spot, and I can see the spot out there right there in the center of the flood beam, and this is spot only. Here's medium, spot only, spot and flood, flood, high on flood, spot and flood, and spot there, and we'll go back to the eco mode. Now it also has that turbo mode that I talked about on the back of the box there, and you get into that by double clicking the button on the side. So this is the low turbo mode, and you can change the beam shape, spot and flood right there. So you can turn this back off by just pressing the button, or you can press and hold it and you'll go back in to the eco mode there, and you get to step it back up. So we're at medium now, and this is going to be the turbo for the medium. Flood, spot and spot. Press and hold. Now we're back in the eco mode, so we can press and hold till we get to high, and then we'll double click to turbo. And this is that super bright mode. I can actually hear the fan running on this light to keep it cool. This is the flood, spot and spot there. Now this light does have a strobe mode, and it will strobe at the high, medium, or low brightness depending on what one you're in when you activate the light. So triple click, that is your strobe right there, and it goes really fast, and then it gets a little slower like that, and then it goes fast again. And then you can click the button again to turn off the strobing mode. Now, if you click the activation button 4 times, you will lock the light out, so it can't be accidentally activated. If you click it 5 times, you will turn on the fan manually in this light. Let's look at it on the longer range. On the longer range here in front of us at about 60 yards, there's a barn and a baler. And then past that 100 yards, we've got a tree line. So let's go ahead, see how these different modes perform out here. This is low mode right now. This is spot and flood, and that is flood only. Now, when I have it in spot and flood, I can see the light on the trees back there, but I can just see them illuminating. I can't really make out shapes of the trees. I can see the barn and the baler pretty well. Let's step this up to medium here. So this is flood, spot only. I'm starting to see the trees a little bit clearer, and I can definitely see the barn and the baler there pretty easily. And now we are in the high mode, so I can start to really make out some more definition on the trees at 100 yards, easily see the barn and the baler. And this is the flood only, spot and flood, and the spot only mode right there. So let's go ahead and shift back into low, hit it with the turbo spot mode. Oh yeah, definitely making out branches on the trees there. Barn and baler, no problem. So let's go into medium turbo. I can see even more with that. And then we'll step it up into that super high turbo mode. And I can see more definition on the trees. I can see many of the different trunks out there, the different branches. And then this flood is just huge on the turbo mode on high. So the X1 Pro outside after dark, definitely able to put out a bunch of light from this flashlight here. In fact, I don't think you'll actually be using that turbo mode indoors much. I tried to use it in a normal sized room off camera, and it was just obscenely bright. But the normal high, medium, and low modes on here are definitely usable indoors. But that turbo mode, just not really usable inside. I guess if you're inside a warehouse or something and you have a lot of area to illuminate, then you'd probably use the turbo mode on here. But otherwise, the high, medium, and low are definitely usable. And even the eco mode with its 20 lumens was a nice amount of light. I remember the old Surefire incandescents, they were 60 lumens, and guys used to think they were super bright. Of course, now we have lights like this that can put out multiple thousands of lumens, but it's still nice to have that eco mode with those 20 little lumens when you don't need a lot of light. Now, being a little bit on the larger side, it was nice that they included that belt holster as an accessory, so you were ready to go right out of the box if you wanted to carry this on your belt. The last thing I wanted to show you here is the USB charging on this light, and I was able to get the lanyard back into this piece right here, but it is a huge pain in the rear to try to do so. I would suggest never taking this lanyard loop out of the metal piece right there. So for the USB charging, all we have to do is plug it in to the light there, and we're going to charge this other flashlight with it. We just plug it in and we see our charging light has come on the X4 right there. So no modes to go into, just plug it in to the X1 Pro. So everybody, I did like the X1 Pro. I like the form factor that the light has, kind of like their smaller rectangular lights, just larger and with more output. So check them out at Wuben's website. And if you have any questions about this light or comments, please leave them down below. And this has been another WV Guns and Goats video. And as always, if you're not out there having fun shooting, well, what are you doing?